Welcome back. So it's been getting a little cold at night here. It's that time of year. During the day's okay, but it's pretty chilly at night. And our heat here on Shalimar is a wood stove. The Tiny Tot wood stove, made in Michigan. They're awesome little deals, but the problem is, the other day I had a runaway fire in it. I built the fire and it started going and I couldn't damp it. I couldn't do anything. I felt some cracks behind it. So we're going to take it off and take it out of here. And I'm going to see if I can maybe work on the cracks with a Dremel tool. Maybe it's something that can be welded, I hope. But if not, we'll figure something else out. But yeah, let's get at it. Okay, let's take this outside. Well, I think this thing's toast. Look at this. I've been grinding it back. It's just too cracked. It's cracked, and then if you look in there, see the firebox? Right there, it's gone. So this thing's toast. We could get it welded, but why? Why? It's just gonna break again. And to be honest, it's kind of small. It's kind of little. It's, you know, it's barely more than a novelty on board. So I think we're gonna look for something else. We're gonna get something else, maybe something a little bit bigger. That's solid cast iron if we can find it, because this thing it's done. It's toast. All right, good to know. Since the Tiny Tot is unrepairable, we had to consider our options. The thing about the Tiny Tot, it's cool. It looks neat. But talking with the previous owner, he had the same problem and with it cracking like that. And the reason is there's a tendency to fill the thing up higher than the cast iron firebox. And of course, it's got a stainless steel back. It's going to crack. It's going to burn it out. The thing is, you know, down to maybe 50 degrees Fahrenheit, the Tiny Tot is pretty good. Other than that, it's only a little more than a novelty. It'll take the edge off. But so we could have got another one. It would fit. Everything would go in exactly the same. They're pretty reasonably priced, but we want to have something that actually keeps us warm, right? Wood will keep you warm for a few hours, but you can't achieve an overnight burn on something this size, small like this, with wood. You're going to be messing with it at least every couple hours. The only thing you can get an overnight burn with is coal. So we want a stove that can do both. The Tiny Tot could do both, but not very much of anything. So we decided to get this. This is the Davey hot pot stove. Davey & Company hot pot stove. It's the only wood stove we could find that fit our footprint that was already here. This thing was already here. We want a stove that can fit here and fit our deck flange and everything. And this was it. The hot pot stove, it's made in England. Made in, I think, Colchester. So, sorry, I'm not from England. So, anyway, the company's been around since 1885, I believe. It's a very old chandlery company, and it's pretty cool. 1885. The thing about Great Britain and these stoves, these are awesome. And these are, I think a lot of times they're used on narrow boats. If you guys don't know what a narrow boat is in America, it's a boat very long and narrow, like the name, and they use it in the canals in England. Imagine kind of like a floating RV, kind of about around the same size. But they heat them with these stoves, and in England they have something they call smokeless coal. The only thing we have kind of like that is anthracite coal, which is a natural product. There, they make kind of like an anthracite briquette, okay? And it's very clean burning, it's very easy to light and burn, makes no smoke. It's in a pollution controlled environment, and we don't have it here. Actually, it was available in the United States until just after World War II, and then they just stopped. We use anthracite coal here, or I guess you could use bituminous soft coal. We're not going to do that. It's disgusting. Anthracite is clean burning. It's the cleanest burning fossil fuel. I believe it's less polluting even than natural gas. Like there's not going to be any smoke. It's clean. And that's really when we want an overnight burn. Other than that, we're just going to burn firewood, you know, just wood chunks in it, like we did with the tiny tot. So, a couple of things about it. It's got this nifty lever. You can lift the top off like this, right? And it loads from the top. The flue pipe, you see here, comes up from the middle of it.
Oh, I can't see it.
See, it comes up from the middle. So you can load it with firewood there, and it'll burn. But if you use coal, you can load the coal all the way up to the top, and it comes down like a self-feeding, like a hopper system. This is your little ash pan here, and we got this little metal bucket, so we can dump the ashes in the metal bucket. So we've got it all set up. I love it. I think it's awesome. The whole thing is solid cast iron. It's going to keep this boat nice and toasty. Now we have to install it. And what the manufacturer suggests here in this handy dandy booklet is that we actually drill and tap the bottom of it, which is a good idea. So that's what we're going to do. We need, oh, this thing is not light, I'll tell you that. We need to drill and tap the bottom of the stove. We're going to do 4 bolts drilled and tapped in here, and then we're going to through bolt it through here, so that way it's a rigid mount. And of course we put the flue pipe in and cut all that to fit. So let's get this thing installed. And you know what? Try to make a fire. I'm excited to have fire again. It's been waiting for this thing to come in the mail. It's been a while. So let's do it. Have to mark the flue pipe, and we have to do a few things to the flue pipe. I need to cut this to the same length. This part I need to cut to the same length as my offsets. See? So that way we can cut this flush here to this, and then when we put the offsets in, it'll push the flue pipe flush with the deck flange. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're just going to mark this so we can cut it. Okay, that'd be that. Now, I also don't want to scratch this. So we are going to protect the pipe a good bit because we want to cut it, we want to move it around, and I really don't want to scratch it at all because it's really nice and shiny. The first step is totally mutilate the tape. That'll make your job easier. Man. Cool. Okay, now we can see what position we want to put the stove in. I think this may literally be the only position. I don't think that we could put it anywhere else. I think this is going to be it. Yeah, because if we turn it at all, this is going to be too close for a washer. So right now, it's pretty well perfect. So we got our marks. See? So we had to remove the deck flange. We got to scrape all that down. It's the only way we're going to get this thing on there is remove the deck flange. We got all the measurements right, but we got to have the flange off so I can hammer it down. Plus, it's a good time to rebed that deck flange. So that's what we're doing now. Got to clean this off. Yep. And this is about the only use for silicone on a boat. High temp silicone. That's what we're going to seal that with. That's what we'll bed it with. So what I'm doing, we're going to try, now that we got the deck flange out, because that's really just the easiest way. Just remove the deck flange, gives us time to rebed it. It's just way better than trying to hammer things together and stuff like that. But we're installing the feet. You got to have a standoff. I think if I had ceramic here, we probably wouldn't. You could probably just mount it straight on the ceramic, but because it's not, it's stainless and a mile of plywood underneath it. I like the standoff for heat protection. But if we tapped and threaded the body of this, the bottom. So now we've put this in and I've tightened these up to where these are rock solid. So they're not going anywhere. Hopefully it all just plunks in right. That would be nice. Okay. I need you to help me lift it. Well, we're in something.
We're in trouble.
What's happening? I think that's got it. All but the back.
Yeah, I won't say that.
Socket wrench. I think that'll do it. Whew. Okay, so while the deck flange, or some people call it a deck iron, is off, now is the perfect time to refinish this. See, the varnish is getting kind of old. We're going to put some all wood on this. But I got to strip it with a heat gun, and if I go trying to strip this, I'm going to peel up the paint here, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to show you guys a trick on how to avoid that. What we want to do is we want to create a heat shield around here. And the best way we can do that is with some tape. Now, you know the deck is going to be repainted anyway later on, but why create those problems now? Let's just go ahead and get this done now. And we don't have to do anything super fancy, but first you put down blue painter's tape. Real rough and ready style. Just get it down. Alright, so now we got the blue painter's tape in place, and I may do a little thicker here, but all this is for is because this comes up easy. This is going to act as a heat shield with the blue painter's tape. The blue painter's tape comes up real easy, whereas this stuff doesn't. It sticks and it stays stuck no matter what you try to do to it. So we're just going to go ahead and thicken this up a little bit so it doesn't get stuck on any edges. Just make it nice and thick and broad. Just a heat shield. You can heat gun things in fairly close proximity to other things. Doing this, and it'll at least, it may not eliminate your problems, but it'll certainly minimize them a lot. Okay, so we got that on there. Now it's time for the metal HVAC tape. Same thing, just go slow and get it on there. Doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, you don't really even want to stick it down too hard. The looser it is, if you can have a little air gap, the better it's going to function as a heat shield. We just kind of touch it and get it down a little bit, but that's all we want. We don't want anything, we don't want it super tight. Doesn't need to be smoothed down. We're just getting it kind of in place. But you see how I'm leaving the end kind of flappy? Yeah, that's what you want. That way it dissipates the heat from the heat gun before it can do any damage to the deck, because we do not want to do that. Okay, now I'm going to take some of this metal tape and I'm going to put it inside as well, just to protect down below a little bit. Got a plastic bag to catch the shavings. Plastic bag isn't going to cut it for the heat gun, so just put this here just to protect it a little bit and it'll be all right. Now we gotta sand this thing. Get a good sand on it. Yeah, so I'm gonna go get the sandpaper and let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a trick. I'm pretty sure this trick has been covered in other videos, but there's a little dent right here, right? So sanding things, the sander jumped and went kabonk and dented that. So now this is how we remove said dent. I'm using a bottle of water, right? And I'm going to let water soak into it real quick. So that's the first thing. So we let the water soak for just a minute. Then we take denatured alcohol, right? I'm gonna wipe away the water a little bit, but I don't wanna wipe all of it off. I'm gonna take and drip some denatured alcohol on there, okay? Now, the denatured alcohol mixes with the water, and I set it on fire. But the problem is you don't know it's on fire. So you gotta be really careful because you're gonna burn yourself if you don't know. You'll know it's working because it will evaporate the water. You'll see what I'm doing. Because the denatured alcohol mixes with the water, you'll see it steam off. Okay, we're almost there. What it's doing is it's actually going to steam this dent out. See, it's drying instantly. That's the denatured alcohol burning off, and it's mixed with the water. And look, the dent is gone. Now, I'm going to do it one more time just to be sure, but what it does is it gets in there and it relaxes the wood fibers that have been crushed. Now, as long as you haven't severed the wood fibers, this trick works. If you sever them, it's not going to work. So if you really smack the crap out of it, it's not going to work. But this will work for if you just dented it. You see it's evaporating off? That's the denatured alcohol burning off. Yep, presto changeo, no more dent. There we go. That's how you do it.
So while Will is cleaning up the home for the flange, we are going to shine up the chimney. I've already cleaned out the inside of it. So you can see. Pretty good. Pretty good. With a Dremel tool and some sandpaper. And now we're just going to shine up the outside.
Yeah, it's looking good. Not too shabby. Nah, it's shining up nice. We're just gonna do a little light sand. This is 320. And all we're doing here is just getting little lumpy bumpies off. I'm barely touching it. I don't want to actually sand anything. It's just sometimes it leaves the grain proud. You know, just any kind of little, you can feel little raised lumpy bumpies. And it's almost like little spiky things. And if you leave them, they just kind of screw up your finish a little bit. So we don't, like I said, the goal is not to actually sand this. We certainly don't want to get through the primer into the wood. All right, now what I was talking about here, check this out. This guy, see that? So that's gone. And now we have a clean thing for varnish, for the top coat, the gloss. These little speckles, they're not going to come out. They're in there. And I'll do the exact same thing with the brush in this. Now they sell a brush cleaner for this, all wood. I have had zero luck actually trying to wash brushes with it. Either A, the brush gets pretty clean, and then I can't ever, you're supposed to rinse it with the brush cleaner and then rinse it back out with the brushing reducer and all this other stuff. It never works. So every time I use a coat, the brush is trash. I don't even bother with it. I don't pay that much for these brushes, so one coat, brush stays in, so I can peel it out and have a clean container tomorrow. So always, that's how I always do it. So you just blast through brushes when you do this, but that is what it is. There's nothing we're gonna do about that. Thing to keep in mind too, the primer, unused primer, if it hadn't been out too long, you can pour it back. This, the top coat, you can never pour this back in the can. It will cause the entire can to kick. So you try to guess and get the right amount in there in the first place. And this stuff you can do 3 coats a day on a nice warm day like today. So we're gonna do 3 coats for the next 2 days and get that on there. All right, there's not a lot else we can do about it right now. We'll just let that do its thing. And remember, leave this in here and you can pull it all out and have a clean, dust-free cup. It's gonna rain here today, but we're gonna try to get the deck iron, the deck flange down. Right now I've got it just kind of screwed in place to hold it. And I'm gonna taper on the outside. We're putting this stuff, Rutland's high temp silicone sealant around it. Very rarely do you use silicone on a boat, but for this purpose you kind of need it. But I want to tape it so that way I don't have to try to clean up a big glob of silicone everywhere. This will at least make it a little bit easier. I'm also going to tape the top of this deck flange here. We're just going to trim it with the razor so we don't have to be super duper careful with it. The gnats have become aware of my presence.
You want the fan?
Yeah, well, we don't have the cord up here, so never mind. These suckers are everywhere.
Yeah. And
they weren't. They just got all attracted to my concentration. Holy cow. These little jerks. Let's get this nice and acetone down. Gnats just make this so much more fun, you know? You guys can't see on the camera, but there's literally 10 million, thousand, billion, cajillion gnats. I mean, it's incredible the amount of gnats. So I want to seal these screw holes first. So I'm going to squash some silicone in there. All right, that's a whole bunch. That's a good amount. Now, kind of like my epoxy, squish out is the name of the game here. And we are going to get a lot of it. But that's okay, because that's what we want. That's the whole point of the tape. We're actually, this isn't going to sit perfectly zero tolerance flat on this. Holy cow, these gnats. They are way worse than they ever were 5 seconds ago even. They've just, like, they're attracted to concentration. They know when you're trying to work. They know. And they're like, all right, let's get him. He's thinking. He's working. Holy cow. Oh my gosh, these guys. Yeah, come on, what's going on? Oh my gosh. I don't think I've ever been chopped as much by bugs in my life. I mean, they are really bad right now. Jeez. Holy macaroni. Come on now. Freaking little bugs. Ah, they're getting me. They're getting me. They're horrible right now. Beyond belief. Phew. I don't even know. I think
if you stop breathing, they're not attracted to you anymore.
So that's the trick, is you just stop breathing. Okay, well, we'll try that. I'm willing to try anything, I guess, right now. These little suckers are not playing around. They suck. Get it? The suckers, they suck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Now the trick to this silicone, anytime, even on a car, when you use an RTV silicone, is you don't tighten it down right away. We want to get it in place, let it sit for an hour, and then you tighten it down. So for now, we just want to get all the holes lined up. Oh my gosh. These bugs, man, I'm telling you, this is brutal. Brutal. Like, seriously. No joke. Ho, 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 mama.
I feel like we're in the Amazon right now.
It's bad. This is the worst. I don't know. It's got to be among the worst I've seen out of these guys. This is really bad. Really, really bad. All right, so it's lined up. Oh my gosh. Ah, there we go. But what did I do back here? Tell him what he won, Bobby. An air gap. Yay, an air gap. Holy cow, these bugs, dude, I am not kidding. Oh, I've never been so chomped. Look at my arm. Look. You see all those gnats? They're chomping me, man. Holy cow. Big old honka-chonka paper towel. Make sure this is nice and sealed. I hope so. I really freaking hope so. 'Cause that would suck if it's not. Yes, it would. It would suck so bad. I'm getting chopped alive and I hate it. Oh my gosh, they're in my ears. And now I just put caulk in my ear. All right. Okay, all right. We're not going to tighten it down all the way, but we are going to snug it. A little snuggeroo there. A little snuggeroo here, right? A little snuggeroo there, right? Yeah. And a little snuggeroo here. See that squish out? Yeah, that's what we want. I want it to squish out. A lot of people don't like squish out. Where's the hammer? You ever killed gnats with a sledgehammer? It'll make you crazy. Like literally, I'm going crazy. If you can't tell. If you guys haven't been able to notice yet, the insanity that's happening here. It's a real thing. It's brutal. This is, these little bastards, they are brutal. They suck so much. I don't think it can be described. Especially when you're trying to concentrate. Some of you guys might be like, well, why did you put on bug spray? Yeah, if you want to attract more of them, you put on bug spray. They know. And they know when you're trying to not get chomped. And you know what they come for? Bug spray. It's like a McDonald's sign. It's like the hot and ready sign at the donut shop. Wish I could punch them all. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Get away, stupid bugs. I can't stand it. Oh my gosh, okay. It's running all through me. All through me. All right. Need a little acetone here. Can you see the bugs on the camera?
Yeah, you can.
It's incredible. And every single one of them is chomping. Don't think just because they're flying. Oh my God. I mean, look at this cloud. I've never seen this before. And I've been here a while.
No, we don't need the fan, he says. We'll be fine without it.
Oh my gosh. You know what we need? To cry. And a lot of scotch. Cry and scotch. All right. I'm telling you, these bastards. Does it hurt? I hope so. Ow! 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 All right. All right. Remove the tape now. Okay, buddy. All right, there's that. All right, not too bad. Now we're gonna wait an hour. I'm gonna clean this up real quick, but we're gonna wait an hour before we snug this the rest of the way down. Oh, trying to function is impossible. Oh, they're in my ears. Ow! Just hit myself in it. I have one literally flying inside my ear. Get the fuck out of my ear! I've never been so covered in these. Look! My God.
Are we almost done?
This is incredible. Have you seen this many ever?
No, I haven't. It's awful. The sun needs to come out.
Look at, make sure that there's no air gaps. Man, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. All right. Oh my gosh, man. These suckers. I've never been so chomped. I'm just trying to see what we got here. What is this? Oh, something old. It looks like we've got a good seal. We certainly... Oh, there's still a gnat in my ear. Get out of my ear. Can you see him? Look, can you see him?
No, I see no gnat.
Hang on. I'm gonna force this little bastard out. Or in. Out or in. Man, choking on gnats. Sheesh. All right, so it's been an hour. And the gnats aren't as furious now. So we're gonna go ahead and do our final torquing with this. I do it just like lug nuts. Diagonal, then diagonal, then diagonal. We're not trying to strip any wood or anything. We're just getting it snugged down. All right. There we go, that's torqued. Okay, everything's sealed up, so this time tomorrow, should be able to have a fire. Awesome. Cool, it's on there. Tomorrow, we shall see. Fire time. Right now, I'm thinking about making a heat shield. See, this is pretty close. Now, the last pipe was pretty close, It never caught fire, but it did kind of char it a little bit, and I had to do a little bit of repair. So we're going to see what we can do. I'm going to try to make a heat shield out of this, out of the cutoff of the pipe. And really, let me hold this. All it's got to do is just kind of cover behind here, you know. It just has to be a space between Mr. Pipe and Mr. Wood.
Good job.
So now we have this part done, right? We have to open this up more. Then I have to cut the sides and make tabs, so I can screw it down, bolt it down. Our basic heat shield right here. Basically. Gotta do a little bit of work to it, but yeah, let's clean it up. Go take a look. So far we're looking pretty good. That's our heat shield, and I think that'll work great. Should keep it off of there. What do you think?
I think it looks great.
Looks pretty cool. Yep. We'll round off the corners and make it look a little nicer, but yeah, that ought to do it. I think it'll get it. Can't tell if it's touching the metal or not, or the wood or not. We're going to remove the tape from this pipe before I get this really screwed in, but I just want to make sure it fits and all as well. Not easy. Hey, and that is that. It's not touching the wood, it's not touching the pipe. Now let's get the tape off this and clean up the pipe and get the heat shield installed. It should be pretty well good. Look at that. Hey, how about that, huh? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Yeah, that looks great. That looks just great. Be really careful now because I could scratch the ever-loving bejeebus out of the pipe. If you're making a heat shield, the important thing about it is that the shield doesn't contact the hot parts, right? So the flue pipe is going to get really, really hot. We need an air gap between the shield. See, there's an air gap all the way. And then an air gap between where it's contacting. And there's, maybe, see, just enough that it'll reduce that temperature. So that's the important thing. I couldn't hook the heat shield onto the flue pipe. It's got to be completely separate from it, and it has to be separated by an air gap on both sides. So keep that in mind if you ever make a heat shield. Hey, just sitting here by the cozy warm fire. Actually, we have to wait for the RTV on deck to cure for 24 hours, and we wanted to see what it was like. So we stuck a little flashlight that has a firelight effect in there, so we can kind of see what it looks like. It looks pretty good though, huh? I can't wait till we can actually have a real fire instead of battery-powered flashlight fire. Awesome. So it's time to put our Charlie Noble, or chimney cap, or chimney cowl, some people want to call it, on the boat. You can see the deck iron here. It rained, and that's what we want. This is designed to be filled with water, so it dissipates the heat and keeps it out of the pad or the deck, right? This shape, this H shape, is the best shape for preventing downdraft. We have a really short flue. It's a very short flue. And it might end up actually being too short for the new stove. The Tiny Tot did fine, but I don't know. We're going to have to see what it does with this and see if we have enough draft. If not, we may put a higher stack up here. But I'm not worried about that right now. Of course, we got the stove done and it's 80 degrees. So, all right, it's time. The RTV is cured. Everything's done. Let's see if we can get a fire going in this thing. It's only about, I don't know, 100 million outside. So it's going to be really hot, but I don't care. After all this work, we're building a fire. Yay. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. That's awesome. That's really awesome. Mm-hmm. Let's put flammable stuff all over the boat. Holy cow. That's the bottom just fell out of that. That's amazing. You saw it here first. WYLL. All embarrassing crap all the time. Man. Alright, well, there's that. Okay. I make these little fire starters. It's just when we have a candle, when the candle goes out, I mop the wax up with a paper towel. And I just kind of roll it up, and this will burn for a long time. It makes a great fire starter. Once you get it going, it'll go and go.
That's terrifying.
Yep. But it will last a long time. Put some cooling in here. Can't believe it. New stove. And the candle is like a piney candle, so now I have like a real pine forest kind of smell. That's
Smells
awesome.
good.
Doesn't it? Try to get a layer of stuff that'll just go up like that. And then what I do is I'll put like a bigger chunk, you know, on there. Probably about good for now. Okay, let's cover this up. Well, it's burning. The fire is going. The so that is awesome. Fire's going. Things we're gonna have to check, which I'm gonna check here in a minute. I'm gonna go up because we have a short flue, and we're gonna look and see if there's any fire coming out of the Charlie Noble. The other thing we're gonna have to watch out for is just the temperatures of everything. I've got a little infrared gun, and that'll kind of tell me the temperature. Right now this is at 130 degrees, so not much. Where's that guy? Shoot, he's only at 132. So this is going to take a while to get going, but let's, while this is really going, because it's really ripping right now, let's go up and see if there's any fire coming out of the Charlie Noble. Okay, so we can see a light in the Charlie Noble, but there's no flame coming out.
Oh, it's hot.
Oh yeah, it's hot. There's a really good draw. I will say that this thing is drawing excellently. So even with the short flue, we have no draw issues right now. It is really, really drawn. And looking in it, I can see a little light in the flue, but it's not horrible. So this is great. You know, you don't want to see, there's not a lot of debris coming out. I don't see sparks everywhere. So this is great. Really, really good.
Sunset looks pretty too.
Yes, it does. Wow, look at that. Just beautiful. Man, gorgeous. Yeah, that's really nice. First fire with the new stove. What do you think?
I think it's amazing. I'm so excited.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, it's even great out here.
All right, let's check it. It's going. It's drawing really nicely. It's just no problems with the draw at all. That's great. It is great. Cool. All right, the Davey hot pot stove. Awesome. So we put our first anthracite coal load in it. So far, it's pretty awesome. Here's all the coal. This thing's working great. It's hot in here. It's really, really, really warm.
I'm wearing a jacket that's heated.
Yeah. She wants to live on the surface of Mercury or something. Us normal people would be a little warm. What do we got here? So 493 for the surface temperature here. You can measure right down at the flame though. 576, 606, that's good, that's perfect. Man, so far it is awesome. Awesome, awesome. So we're gonna add a little more coal. How about this? Coal in southeast Georgia. Man. You know, it's crazy how we even got this coal. There isn't any anthracite coal down here. I mean, we're literally exit 1. We're right on the Florida border. And so I was looking everywhere, and I found out Tractor Supply carries it. And so I thought, well, sure, I'll just order it. It's like $6.99 for a 40-pound bag. And I looked, and the shipping was like $300 for 3 or 4 bags. I'm like, that's no good. So I looked around for some reason. What's the name of the town? Orange Park?
Orange Park, Florida, yeah.
Yeah, Orange Park, Florida. Somebody made a fluke, and they ordered 1,000 pounds of coal and never came and got it at the Tractor Supply. And so I didn't know where Orange Park is, and I'm like, Kim, you know where Orange Park is? She's like, yeah, it's right by my house.
Yeah, I live there.
But so tonight we're testing everything. So far, so good. The stove rocks. It's hot. It's working. The heat shield I made is perfect. Got no problems there. So far, the Davey hot pot stove is the answer. I like it so much more than the Tiny Tot. The thing is just awesome.